Hello everyone. Let us continue with executing pig scripts. I will discuss an example in detail. Each and every line of the pig script will be discussed here. So let us start with an example which we have discussed while understanding the weather data set, wherein we were trying to extract each year what is the maximum temperature corresponding to a quality code. So you can see it in the previous sessions. So let us try to take the same example and how do we analyze the pig script to do the same job, right? Now if you see this one, this is the pig script which is doing the same job which was done by the MapReduce code which we have discussed in the previous session. Hardly how many lines? 7 to 8 lines of code than a big MapReduce one, right? Now first one, hyphen hyphen, you are trying to give a command. Before any line you put 2 hyphens without a space, it is understood the line is treated as a comment, right? So pig Latin, as I told, it's a language. Every computer language starts with the comments. How do you give comments? How do you define variables and so on, right? So in pig Latin, comments are given using 2 hyphens before any statement. That entire line will be treated as a comment. I will discuss that also, right? Then the next statement what we have given is records is equal to load is a built-in operator. Records is equal to load this entire data set which is there available in this specified path. Now whenever you are trying to give this load command, what exactly are you saying? Load the entire data set into records as year, temperature, quality. I will talk about the data types in the next session. Try to understand, you are trying to load the data set into records as year, temperature, quality. I am extracting only 3 data values or 3 fields from the data set. I am not taking all, right? So it has got the data set I have shown you. It has got latitude of the station, longitude of the station, station identifier, and that station identifier also as per US country code, as per world what is the station identifier. Likewise various attributes are there, humidity, all those things. We are not extracting all, we are extracting only 3. So you need to specify that using the load operator. Load the data set as what are all the fields you want to extract, that you need to specify. Now from the data set these 3 fields are extracted and they are maintained as the one which is similar to an Oracle table. So here also we call them as relations. So here also relation is a collection of tuples. I will also show you what are the differences between pig and SQL, but for the time being try to understand the output of every operator in pig will be a relation which is a collection of tuples. Now records will be a relation which is a collection of various tuples or rows, just like SQL table, with how many fields? Here I have specified 3. So in every row I will have 3 attributes, 3 fields, right? Now next what am I specifying? Filtered records is another relation which is equal to filter. This is again a built-in operator in pig language. Filter, which are we filtering now? Records. So this relation will be used here. Filter whatever is the records relation by temperature value should not be invalid and quality code should be within only these 5 values, right? Now what is happening? We started working with the data set using load and the set of attributes. We transformed a huge data set into a relation of 3 attributes. First transformation. Under second transformation, what are we trying to do? We are taking this records relation and filtering all the rows which are not having invalid temperature, and quality code should be belonging to, quality code should be any one of these 5 values. So from the relation with the 3 attributes, you are trying to filter out some more rows. One more transformation, right? You started with a data set, took only 3 attributes. From that you are trying to take some records only which are satisfying this condition. After that, what are we trying to do? Grouped records is equal to group filtered records. What is filtered records? The relation which was filtering all the valid temperatures as well as the valid quality code, and we are calling that relation as filtered records. This filtered records is again subjected to a transformation called group by, what is the key value with which you are grouping it? Year. Right? Then max temp is equal to, for each grouped records, generate group comma max of filtered records dot temperature. I will show you the output of each and every statement in my next slide. Then finally you are trying to show dump max of temp. Dump is like an output statement in pig which will show the output of the current statement. So I will just show you the output of each and every statement. What is the first statement? You are trying to load the data set and you are trying to extract only 3 attributes. So I am taking the first one, and this is the load operator trying to extract the 3 attributes. The 3 attributes will be like this, tuples. Tuples are always represented in round braces. So what is the first attribute you are taking? Year. Next one is temperature, next one is quality. So you are trying to extract the data using load statement. So if you want to see the output soon after the first execution, first operation, load operation, you can say dump. What is the relation of load statement? What is the relation? Records. So what are we saying here? Dump records. Whatever 3 attributes that have been filtered, it will try to show you that. And we can also see the structure of this relation. How do we see the structure of an SQL table? We use the describe command, DESC, the table name, which will show you the schema of the table. Similarly, because we are talking, the left hand side of the assignment operator is a relation, you can try to see the schema of it. We also call it a schema, or you can just say structure. How do you see the structure? Using the same command, describe records. So it will show you what is the structure of the records relation, the data type of each and every field, etc. Then what is the second statement? What is the second statement we were doing here? Filtered records. So there won't be any out. I did not generate the output. If you want, you can dump filtered records also. What is the third statement we are trying to work with? Grouped records is equal to group the filtered records by year. So whenever you are trying to group them based on an year, say for example corresponding to 1949, I have got 2 records. How the grouping is done? What is the key attribute here? Group the filtered records by year. So year is the key attribute. So that will be taken as the grouping field, comma, what are the rows corresponding to that particular year? Those are maintained as a list. You visualize it like a Python list. So it maintains them like that, which is called as a bag. We don't use Python terminology, list, tuple, set and all. Here we call them as bags, right? The bag contains 2 records corresponding to the year 1949. Similarly, corresponding to 1950, I have got 3 rows into the bag. Now, if you say dump the grouped records, you will get this output. If you want to see the structure of grouped records, if you see, what do you have? What is the group item and what are the bag values? Then, how do you generate the maximum temperature? What is the command we are giving? Max temperature is equal to, for each grouped records, generate, I want to generate the output. How do you want to generate the output? What should be there in the first one? Group. Group means who is the grouping attribute for us? The year value. And max of filtered records dot temperature. In every bag corresponding to a key, who is the maximum temperature. If you see this row, for example, who is the group attribute? 1949, and corresponding to 1949 I have two tuples. Who is the one with maximum temperature in this bag? The row with 111 is the record with maximum temperature. Similarly, for second row, who is the group item? 1950, and who is the maximum temperature in the bag? The record with 22 is the maximum one. So what do you expect in the output? 1949 comma this record, 1950 comma this record. So if I try to dump max temperature, do we get year and maximum temperature? This is how you try to extract data. And why are we calling them as transformations? If you try to see the program, started with the data set, extracted 3. So you transformed a data set into a relation of 3 attributes. From that you are trying to filter out unwanted rows. So a relation is now further transformed into a filtered relation. From that you are trying to group it based on a key, group by. So likewise you are trying to do transformations with every operation you are doing. Now, as I told, this is little bit similar to SQL. I will show the comparison between PIG and SQL or RDBMS. Try to see this one. There are several differences between PIG and relational database. Before talking about the differences, what is the similarity? Every operation results us in a relation, right? Now coming to the differences, PIG Latin is a data flow programming language, whereas SQL is a declarative programming language. Under PIG we call it as data flow. You just see how the data is flowing between various relations, whereas in SQL you give the command, you see the output, right? And PIG Latin program is a step by step set of operations on the input relation, and where every step you call it as a transformation. SQL you specify the constraints, whereas or where this is happening and this is happening, group by, having, you try to specify the constraints, satisfying the constraints, whichever data is satisfying you get it as the output. Here you are trying to specify everything in the form of transform this relation corresponding to this, transform the relation corresponding to this, right? And RDBMS are storing the data in tables which have tightly specified schema. Before actually storing the data, you need to specify what will be the schema of the table. Is it what we are doing with create table in SQL? You specify who are the fields, what is their data type, who are the primary key, who is the foreign key. Likewise, you are specifying the set of things which will define the structure of the table before actually inserting the data. Whereas in PIG, while working with the statement itself, you can specify how you want to see the resulting relation. I will also show you some relations in PIG need not have a schema also. You can just insert the data without specifying any schema definition. And there is no data import process to load the data into RDBMS. Do we ever write any statement of import employee table and all? The moment you start your SQL engine, you can even use the default tables like EMP, DEPT and so on, right? So we are not importing directly, we are starting logging into the user and you are executing. Whereas in PIG, you start with importing the data set. And PIG has complex support for data structures, nested structures and all. This is a little bit different from SQL, and PIGs also support us to write user defined functions for streaming and all. And RDBMS has several features to support online low latency queries, whereas PIG does not have the concept of indexes, transactions and all, and PIG does not support random reads and writes. So because of this transactions indices concept is not there, people feel it more comfortable, and as it is automatically taking care of transaction, whatever problems we see with the transactions management, right? So these are some of the differences between pig and SQL.